MD Prepper here, making the case for uncommon calibers for prepping and general firearms ownership and shooting. You oftentimes hear people give the advice that you should always buy a firearm that has easily available ammunition that you can pick up anywhere. Well, that sounds nice and wonderful. Buy the 9mm, the 5.56 rifle, what have you, because you're going to be able to walk into any Walmart out there and buy ammunition. Well, if the last two ammo shortages have shown us anything, that's not very reassuring. Now, it is a good idea to have common calibers, cheaper to shoot, parts and accessories, maintenance, etc., but not always the best idea. These last two ammo shortages have shown me that I can get a lot of shooting enjoyment and cheap enjoyment and affordable ammo in uncommon calibers. I still love my 9mm and all, but during the ammo shortage I found myself shooting the 9mm Makarov a lot more often than my 9s because I could get the Makarov caliber anywhere. Any gun store I walked into had a few boxes laying around. Online prices were infinitely cheaper and just generally available. So I'm not advocating here that you own only uncommon calibers, but I would suggest that maybe if you got the extra cash, it might be a good idea to have a couple of oddballs laying around the house that you can shoot in times of shortage. You don't have to worry about so much. So talking more about ammo availability and common calibers, well, 22 is the most common caliber of them all, and when's the last time any of us saw 4 or 5 bricks of 500 to 550 rounds of 22 sitting on a shelf available for sale that didn't sell out in minutes? So common isn't always good. You have a storehouse of 22 rifles and nothing to feed it with because they're all sold out and prices have gone through the roof. Not a good idea. Now, other option or argument is easy access and purchase. Well, I could walk into a store in Walmart and buy 22 or 9s or 45s or whatever. Well, not when the shelves are barren. People argue against the uncommon calibers that we've got here because you can't walk into a Walmart and buy it. I say, well, okay, but I can find it online. I can find much better prices and quantities online, oftentimes I do in the stores, other than maybe Walmart. During the last two ammo shortages, I was always able to find all the calibers that are listed here, especially this 9mm Makarov that I shot a lot of, just to stay in practice. Not that I'm necessarily going to be reaching for this in an emergency defensive situation, but if it's all I've got, it's better than the gun I have no ammo for. So, modern world, we buy stuff online. I could find 20 gauge all over the place, 9mm Makarov, 5.45 by 39, the AK-74 round was all over the place online. Some of the bigger sporting goods stores like Academy had it, but it was available. I could shoot this stuff. I had it available and the price really didn't go up considerably in either shortage. I've got a 7.62 by 54 round here for the Mosin Nagant. You say ammo's not available? Yes, it is. You're not going to find any prepper out there that's going to tell you that a Mosin Nagant 7.62 by 54 is a bad gun or a bad rifle or a bad round. Those are words of nobody ever. You may not be able to walk into Walmart and buy it or a lot of your big box stores, but online you can buy a case of this stuff still for dirt cheap. Very inexpensive, very versatile round. So forget the easy access, I can walk into Walmart mentality. That's great in good times, but in times of shortage it doesn't do you any good at all. It's actually a hindrance. I saw plenty of boxes of 32 auto sitting for months on the shelf at Walmart, as well as 40 caliber around here locally, and 270 for a deer rifle. Just sat there. There was no shortage of it. Maybe not the best ammo in the world, but at least it was available. Good luck finding 308 at Walmart during those days. So, moving along, suggestions. We're going to break this down by firearm type and caliber, just to break things down in a generally available consensus. I would generally say you should look at European style firearms and calibers, or what are generally considered European style typical calibers. Start with rifles. Obviously the Mosin Nagant, the 7.62 by 54R right here. Just about the only thing you're going to find it here in the US is the Mosin Nagant or some of your semi-auto Segas or Russian style sniper rifles. Ammo's cheap, available, roughly equivalent to a 308 or a 30-06. Plenty of punch, very inexpensive, and you're pretty much going to find it online or at gun shows. Some of your gun stores are going to have crates of this stuff laying around. Some of the big box stores on occasion. Academy even has their own brand now, so you can pick this up regularly. Non-corrosive for about, I believe it's $10 a box, $11 a box, so still cased, but who cares? Cheap ammo that I can shoot. I'd rather have it cases of 7.62 by 54R that I can shoot and keep in practice than 308 that I can't find or can't afford. And I've got 308, love it, but in a pinch I'd just as soon have this. Another one people don't think about and talk about too much in the prepping world is the 303 British, the Enfield rifle round. Stellar round. Better range than a 30-06, 308, etc. Use the same reloading dies as a 7.62 by 54R. There's no surplus ammo available anymore, but you can get good reloadable brass for about $13 to $14 a box with soft points or full metal jackets, whatever you want. Like I said before, most of this stuff is European made and specific, and most of the ammo comes from European sources, which is where I lucked out. I didn't have to worry about finding 303 British ammo in the US because we're not making it, at least not much. I'm buying most of it from Serbia or Russia or wherever else. 303 British, an excellent round overall. The rifles you can find in fairly decent condition, surplus, $200. I paid less. I think I paid $160 for one that had been sporterized. Perfectly decent rifle though. Ammo about $14 to $15 a box, so not unreasonable for a centerfire rifle cartridge. You can drop any animal in North America with the right 303 British round, so nothing to sneeze at. The rifles come with 10-round detachable box magazines, so hey, what's not to love? Moving on, a caliber we don't hear a lot about, which I think is greatly missed and underutilized, is the 5.45 by 39 round, or the AK-74 round. It's basically the Russian equivalent of 5.56 223. Lightweight, decent long-range accuracy, deals with pitch and yaw for lethality. In Afghanistan it was called the poison bullet. Overall, you're going to hear me talk more about this caliber in particular in the rifle for prepping and just general use. Very low recoil, high magazine capacity, high reliability, very inexpensive to shoot. Rounds are about the same as 7.62 by 39, the standard AK-47 round. A great all-around general purpose rifle cartridge to have around. When 7.62 by 39 prices were through the roof and hard to get and there was a run on them, I could still buy this stuff for cheap because nobody wanted it. So, highly recommend this one, guys. Moving on to handgun rounds. Again, we may talk about 32 autos and 25 autos and other stuff, but we're going to stick with the European stuff. One of the most common ones being the 9mm Makarov Eastern Bloc answer to the 9mm US version. 9x18 as opposed to 9x19. Not as heavy of a grain, not as heavy a powder charge, not as much of a man stopper as a modern 9mm, especially with our fancy hollow points and all that, but for just a range plinker to get used to and get practice with, perfectly decent ammo here. Russian made, most of it, some of it Ukraine. $12 a box, $13 a box at the height of the ammo shortage there. Steel case most of it, but you could even get Hornady XTP hollow points, which will do the job, which I've seen that firsthand of how useful and deadly that round could be. So, nothing to sneeze at. You can get a cheap little Makarov pistol for $200-300. Sure, it's not your 1911, but good backup, secondary weapon. And again, if I can feed it and feed it regularly, especially during an outage, good for me. Another very popular option, not as much as the Makarov, is the 7.62 by 25 Tokarev round. Bottleneck cartridge, you don't see these too much around anymore. Killed a lot of Nazis and Wehrmacht soldiers. Nothing to be sneezed at, more powerful overall than the Makarov. Very accurate, very flat trajectory. Some people call it the Eastern European version of a 45. I wouldn't go quite that far, but could always find this during the ammo shortages. Not quite as available as the Makarov. So here are your European style calibers, boys and girls. I want a handgun, I want a Makarov handgun, I want a Mosin Nagant rifle. So in times of shortage, you don't have to worry about it. You can get ammo, you can stay in practice, and not tear into your supplies and surplus storage of 9mm or 308 or whatever. As far as shotguns, I'm going to have to echo Bushcraft 412 and say the 20 gauge. The 20 gauge shotgun is not that popular anymore, and I don't know why. It has less recoil, and heaven forbid it's less effective than a 12 gauge. Well, almost everything's less effective than a 12 gauge. I'd rather have this in a single shot shotgun with a lot of ammo than an empty 12. or a 12 gauge that I can't handle due to recoil. Much better round for children, women, shooters, etc. Widely available at pawn shops. You can find a 20 gauge in, I'd say 95% of the pawn shops out there that sell firearms have got a 20 gauge laying around somewhere. Maybe it's just a break action single shot, but who cares? That's better than nothing. Ammo was always available throughout the shortage. The most ammo shortages, standard bulk ammo and rifled slugs, etc. I could take a deer with a rifled 20 gauge slug. Not my first pick, but I could do it. Game, you know, hunting pheasant or quail or dove, anything else. 20 gauge will do the job. Nothing wrong with that. So this is obviously an American caliber, but 20 gauge is worth it. As far as rimfires go, I'd have to say, guys, you're probably out of luck. I do own a 22 Magnum, but when the rimfire shortage, or the ammo shortage came along, rimfires just disappeared. I'm able to find some 22 Magnums online, occasionally the gun shows. 17s, all the other rimfires, I don't know. Don't have a good suggestion for those. But I would say 7.62x54R for a centerfire bolt action style rifle. AK-74 for absolutely the win for overall use. Probably a Makarov for handguns and 20 gauge for a shotgun. You don't have to have them, but guys, you can get these weapons for very, very good prices. Maybe just a backup, just a stand-in, a cash gun, something to bury, something to keep in the truck as a truck gun, a truck rifle, or on the tractor, you know, whatever. Don't discount uncommon calibers. There's a good case to be made for them, especially when you can buy them when you can't buy anything else, or at least can't afford it. Hope you found this useful. I'll probably break these rounds down and talk about them more specifically in the future. Almost certainly the AK-74. Gotta love that one. Hope you found this useful. Indy Prepper out.